Adrian.
Yes, sir.
Right there. Your film is an important narrative in the urban African-American experience, and you wrote the screenplay. Where did the story come from?
So my film was Meal Ticket. It was filmed in the first block, showed in the first block, a short film. A lot of it from my experience, to be honest with you. So I grew up in the inner city in Topeka, Kansas, which is about an hour away from Kansas City. And so growing up playing basketball, played 4 years of college basketball. When I was writing the film, I was actually writing a different film, but I wanted to make something like soon. But the film I was writing was like a bigger production. So I was like, okay, what's something I could write quickly? I could shoot one location in like one day. And I came back to like write what you know. And so I know film, and I know like I'm really an advocate to tell black and brown stories in this industry. And so it really came down to like writing what I know, basketball, growing up in the inner city and how we used to play basketball at night. And then the story itself, it was originally like a father-son story, but it became a father-daughter story because the story actually came from my relationship with my goddaughter. Like I trained her, now she's at Ole Miss. At the end of the film, you see her, she's at Ole Miss. And so I was training her through like her high school years, and it just became natural, like, okay, why doesn't she just become the main character instead of like a father-son? And so that's where the story came from. It came from like a lot from my life. The dialogue came from like my father telling me, he grew up, I grew up watching him go to construction and working hard, so kind of bits and pieces of all over. So that's kind of how it came together.
And you know what, I actually appreciate having it, the female role, something like that. Yep. So I really enjoyed the film. How did you find two actors equal in the task of the performance and simultaneously bawling?
So me being a former basketball player, and I do a lot of sports, I do a lot of cinematography work in the sports industry. So I knew I had that in the bag, to be honest with you, that's gonna look good, but I need to make it authentic. And so obviously low-hanging fruit, my goddaughter, she freshman at Ole Miss playing basketball there. I worked with her on another short film that we did, so I knew that she could act a little bit, but I really made it heavy on the father's role. He's like an established actor in the Kansas City area. I've seen his work a lot, and it's somebody I wanted to work with. And so when I called him for the script, and I asked him if he wanted to work on it, he was like, I'm actually, grew up playing basketball. I actually wanted to do something like as a coach and a mentor. This is like perfect. So it kind of lined up perfectly. And so I wanted to work with him for a while. He wanted to work with me. And so the way I wrote it was like it's heavily on him with the dialogue. And he brought to the script something I couldn't even write. Just the authenticity in his voice, his basketball, and like some of his ad-libs that he did really just brought the film together. So I was lucky to have people that could act and play, but also my goddaughter, who's a baller, just kind of like do her thing, and she didn't really have to act a lot. It was just like kind of me and her story. And so it just came natural.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah.